Hello, my name is Josh Ortega, and today we'll talk about the network analysis between CU, USC, and Oregon. So the purpose from this, from a CU perspective, is we want to identify the Twitter users most connected to our program and how that compares to our main Pac-12 competitors, USC and Oregon. And then we're going to look at a semantic map and see how the language used in those tweets and the sentiment most often found in those tweets compares between Colorado, USC, and Oregon. Then the third challenge is we're going to look at how that changes from the Pac-12 tournament to the NCAA tournament when the audience shifts from a local audience to a more national audience. So the method we did is we used a Twitter API to scrape 7 days worth of tweets and over 3,000 tweets each scrape. Out of those tweets, we're only going to identify only keep the high quality tweets of over 25 characters. For a mention network, we're only going to keep the users that have a high followers to follow ratio, which means they have more followers than they do followers. So they're seen as influencers or close to. And we're also going to keep our high frequency ones. For the semantic network, we're going to use a spaCy tool that allows us to keep the full name of the player of coaches. And we're also going to focus on nouns, adjectives, and verbs. And we're going to keep the high frequency of those rates as well. So the first thing we'll look at is the mention networks. So as you can see, there's three distinctive groupings in each one, and each going to represent USC, Oregon, or Colorado. And you also see some outliers that are popular Twitter users. Each one of the nodes, each one of the labels you'll see are going to be the usernames. And then the lines are what we're going to call edges. And edges are thicker as the more times they're used. So the stronger, the more times that there's a connection between each node, the stronger that line is going to be and the deeper that line is going to be. First, we'll look at Colorado. This is for the Pac-12 tournament. And as expected, most of their connections are going to be people related to CU, such as Mark Johnson, the AAD, other athletic department teams. But we also see some people such as the Free Ballin' Boys, Will Whalen, some of the writers that are covering the roads, and some of our more of the bloggers and more of the fans that you see. But there's not a lot of interaction. When you look at the NCAA, on the other hand, you see a lot more interaction, more stronger interactions. And those bloggers, like the Free Balling podcast, actually turns into bridge nodes to other networks because they're more of a wide-ranging podcast that talks about other basketball teams besides CU, even though they are CU fans. You also see more national media like John Rothstein, the Bleacher Report, and more small Twitter users that are just now discovering the CU buffs, so that you can see that the national perception of CU is wider once you get into a more national audience. When you look at USC and Oregon, it changes a little bit. So on the Pac-12, USC is a football school. So their men's basketball team's not going to have a lot of interaction. Their major Twitter user is a recruiting reporter. And so it's a lot of people asking questions of that Twitter reporter. On the Pac-12 side, you see a lot of inter-athletic department conversations. So other people related to the athletic department, but not necessarily outside of it. When you shift to the NCAA, Oregon's not talked as much, so their nodes went, so their edges went down in strength a lot. And in USC, their edges went up quite a bit, but again, that's mainly from a recruiting aspect. So because football rules all at USC. When we look at a semantic network, you can see that it's a lot deeper in the Pac-12 than in the NCAA. But when we'll look at a deeper look at that. So for the Pac-12, for you can see on the right, all of our hashtags are grouped a lot together, and you see common words like Pac-12 and lead and who comes in second in basketball. You'll see McKinley Wright and Evan Mobley, which makes sense because those are the major stars. On the left-hand side, you'll see Bill Walton mentioned with Tad Boyle and Andy Ensfield, because those are more of the named commodities in them. For the NCAA, you'll see a lot more adjectives pop up. Like on the left, you see Georgetown pop up because Georgetown played Colorado and it was a close game. That's more of a national network. You see stronger connections between all of our hashtags and they're still grouped together. You'll start seeing some words like sweet because a lot of the teams made the Sweet 16. And you'll see more like love and great and best. And so the wide ranging of adjectives expands once you get to that national perspective. I can go into a lot more detail on this, but if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.